The purpose of the press conference is to introduce you to tip411. Tip411 is a new platform that we will be utilizing and hopefully looking forward to the citizens to feed information to the police department. Tip411 has been around for some years now, and there's thousands of agencies that actually use it. It allows our citizens to send tips in anonymously. So there's actually a website that can be utilized for those who may not have a smartphone, but with the smartphone is supported via iPhone and Android. So we're constantly working with the community and working on ways to improve our communications and our relationships across the board. Tip411 is another avenue which will allow us to keep those lines of communication open with one another. And we all know there's various reasons as to why citizens may not report things to police officers while they're on scene. They may want to just remain anonymous. There's no identifiers with Tip411. So once that information is sent in via the app, from the law enforcement standpoint, we have no idea who that person is on the other end that's sending that communication unless they opt to support or provide their names. So we are working with Crime Stoppers as well with Tip411, so we've managed to work out that relationship. And if someone does provide information via Tip411, we're also recommending them or directing them to also contact Crime Stoppers if they're looking for a financial payment on the other end of it. So it's a constant. I just sat both my phones down in the back. We always have our cell phones in our hand. So Tip411 will allow individuals to upload videos as well as photos, and that will come to us as well. So also I want to make sure everyone is aware that Tip411 is not a substitute for calling 911 when you need immediate police assistance. We will be monitoring things on our end, but it may not be as close as to getting, an officer there right away when someone needs one. So we're still encouraging everyone to continue to use the 911 system or non-emergency if they need it. Also, just on the other side, with utilizing Tip411, the police department will be able to push alerts out to the community as well to let them know of different things that are taking place in the community that different segments may need to be made aware of, or if it's citywide. So it's actually a two-way communication for us as well. There's some other functionalities that allow support for a community calendar. So with the police department and various events that we'll be hosting, or the city as a whole has things going on and we want to push information out, Tip411 will allow us that platform as well. I know we've been getting complaints. I opted to use this today as an avenue to talk about this. The complaints with the ATVs that have been coming in, we're wanting to use Tip411 for that as well, so that we're going to have officers on the back end working to follow up on some of those complaints, and hopefully we can get some more resolve to some of those issues that are taking place. At this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to the mayor. Thank you.
So first, a big thank you to Chief Red, a big thank you to Michelle Markham for the amount of work that they both put into bringing this new open line of communication with our residents. So I think obviously the amount of crime that's taking place in Rockford and cities all over the country right now is not acceptable. And I know we can talk about that this crime isn't just here in Rockford, but it doesn't matter to any resident, as it doesn't matter to me if it's happening everywhere, because it's happening right here and it's not acceptable. You've heard us talk in the past about the different youth programs and intervention and prevention efforts that we have. You've heard us talk in the past about the different tools that we are providing the amazing officers that we're fortunate enough to have here in Rockford, from additional license plate readers, cameras, things, gunshot detection software, things of that nature. This is yet another tool in that toolbox, and I would argue that this is really a tool for our officers, but it's also a tool for our citizens. I think probably one of the most difficult things that I have the opportunity to do as mayor is attend visitations or funerals. of those who have been impacted by the violence that's taking place on our streets. And the number one thing said to you, or said to me when I walk in those doors is, please catch whoever did this. And far too often, we know there's witnesses, and they're just not coming forward. Maybe because it's a stigma that revolves around providing that information. But I would just say we need that information. Our families who are suffering tremendous loss and grieving need that information to be provided. This is an anonymous, easy, free way to do that. With an amazing partnership that the chief outlined with Crime Stoppers, you can even get an incentive beyond just doing the right thing, a financial incentive to do that. Again, I would just urge everyone, sign up for it. You can find out about events, as the chief mentioned, but you can also do the most important thing in our mind, is help us solve this crime. There's far too much, and this is yet another tool for our officers to do their job, to hold these folks who want to wreak havoc in our neighborhoods, hold them accountable, as they should be.
I've said over the years that solving crime is like putting a puzzle together. I may have a resident over here that's seen one thing that was suspicious, another one that saw the vehicle fleeing the area. All of that information is what we need to solve crimes. There are other departments across the country that use tip 411 and have seen success rates in a very relatively short period of time, Peoria being one. I think they've been live with tip 411 for about 5 months now, and I know one of the cases they had was the solve of a bank robbery, just from information provided via tip 411.